When I say paid Google ads, I don't just mean paid Google search. I also mean paid Google display and actually YouTube as well. Google's actually owned YouTube since 2006. So we're gonna talk about some of these trends starting with paid Google search. Paid Google search for nonprofits is no longer reserved just to allow us to bid on things that are above $2. In fact, we're actually seeing incredible success when it comes to paid Google search because of the fact that your impression share is so much higher. Impression share is gonna vary from an account to account basis, but what we typically see on the Google Ad Grant is, let's say we wanna go after someone typing in things to do in San Diego, and for an example, there's 100 people that are searching that on a monthly basis. In a Google Ad Grant account, Google may only show us about 10% of the time, where if we're willing to pay for that, we might be able to show up closer to 60% of the time. Something to take note of is if you are seeing success on certain keywords in a Google Ad Grant account, but we want to accelerate that and see more, a lot of times you can copy that over, put it in a paid account. Yes, we're gonna pay real money, but we should see a very large increase in the number of conversions that are coming through. In the same wheelhouse as paid Google search, we also want to talk about paid Google display ads. It's something that has been around for a really long time. I think there's ebbs and flows with it. There's periods where we think Google display is working really well, and then it gets really crowded, and then it doesn't work well, and then everybody leaves, and then it starts working well again. We think in 2020, this is a year where things are going to be working well. Google display is typically a platform that we're going to want to be using to focus on our remarketing. But what we've seen in 2019, at least, is costs have dropped to the point where it's only costing us 1/10 of a penny per impression for targeting new individuals. And when it comes to remarketing to people who have already been on our site, it's still less than a penny. If your organization can set aside even as little as $250 to $500 a month to really focus on those individuals who have hit your website, they've looked around, they may have even hit the donate page but haven't given yet, what happens if we can serve these ads to tens of thousands of individuals for just a few $100s? The last thing that we want to talk about in terms of Google Ads is actually going to be YouTube advertising. But the first point I want to bring up here is actually going to apply to all platforms. One thing that has been heavily invested in by Google over the last few years is AI. They're working heavily to ensure that their bidding strategies are using computer algorithms to better understand who is clicking on ads, who is coming to websites and converting, and feeding that back so your ads become more successful over time. And as a byproduct, they've been able to build profiles on individuals to the point now where if you're in a paid Google Ads account and you're using their affinity audiences, we're finding those matches to be just as powerful and as beneficial as what we're seeing over in Facebook and Instagram. Those audiences and those bidding strategies apply to all three platforms, so paid Google search, paid Google display, and YouTube. And that's why everything in terms of paid Google has started to perform way better and should be just as equally considered as what we would say for Facebook and Instagram. My next point about YouTube is a little bit more YouTube specific, but it comes down to the fact that YouTube is actually the second most visited site online worldwide. The only one that's outperforming it right now is Google. And we talk so much here at Community Boost at marketing where people's attention is at. And guess what? Their attention is on YouTube. We already talked earlier about on Facebook and Instagram, we're seeing younger individuals leave Facebook to yes, go over to Instagram, but actually more of those individuals are daily active users of YouTube. And so whether or not you have a young demographic or even an older demographic, they're there, we want to be there too. The best news is it's not expensive. One of the trends that we saw in 2019 with YouTube ads was the ability to use what is called skippable in-stream pre-roll ads. What that allows us to do is choose an ad of pretty much any length. Typically is gonna be over 30 seconds, under a minute if possible. And we get to serve that before they're going to watch their video. So if you've ever been on YouTube and you start watching a video, but before it, you're forced to watch 5 seconds, but even after that, if you don't click skip, it continues to run. That is a skippable pre-roll ad. What's really amazing about these, and honestly a little bit unbelievable, is the fact that you're only gonna pay for an individual if they watch over 30 seconds of your ad. Not only are we only paying for highly engaged individuals, but we're getting free brand impressions with tens of thousands of others, and the overall cost still for that 30-second view a lot of times is under 2 pennies. With as little as even, again, a $500 a month budget, not only can we be, getting around 25,000 people to watch over 30 seconds of our ad, but in addition to that, for every person who watches, we're probably gonna get 2 to 3 additional people to watch under 30 seconds. But it doesn't mean they're not taking away your brand impression and the understanding of your mission. And honestly, for remarketing audiences, getting a free touch point. Something that is definitely growing. It's still early. We do need good video content if we're gonna be there. If we don't have it, it's gonna stick out like a sore thumb. But YouTube is absolutely a trend. I think it's absolutely underpriced. And I think every nonprofit with good video content needs to be testing it in 2020. If you are curious about learning a little bit more about YouTube ads, we're actually recording another video, which you can find right here, that will link you to give you a little bit more information.